Just Be a Man. Each podcast, we offer commentary from a man's perspective on a range of meaningful topics, such as our world, family, relationships, sex, and much, much more. Our purpose is to impart wisdom to our audience through meaningful and transparent conversation. This program is hosted by 5 brothers from other mothers who have been friends for over 30 years and collectively have over 250 years of experience.
Welcome to another segment of Just Be a Man, where we discuss everyday issues from a man's perspective. I'm Chuck, your host. Let's get right to it. Men's health is a pretty broad topic. Mike, our topic for today is men's health. And so we're going to get right to it. Men's health is a pretty broad topic, so why don't you help us narrow it down a little bit?
Well, I think the most important part is taking advantage of the insurance. Some people have good insurance, some people have mediocre, and some people have lower insurance. I think that depending on who you are, or do what you can do about it, but it's very important, as I learned over the years, how important your health can be. And I think that as older guy, talking to younger guys, if you have insurance, use it. Just don't take advantage of it and just be happy that you have it and let it go by the wayside. It's very important.
When you say insurance and use it, you mean just for checkups?
Yes, make sure that if you have the insurance and you're getting your yearly checkup and you're getting your yearly dental, your 6 months. If you get 6 months, some people get once a year for dental. I get every 6 months. But what I'm saying is that it's very important for me as an older guy, but also for younger guys to not only do their yearly physical, but to also go see the dentist to get the teeth cleaned, because believe it or not, your mouth is very vital to your health. If your mouth gets infected, it can actually have an effect on your brain. So it's very important that you do go get your if you have an abscess tooth or whatever, that's very dangerous. If you have the insurance, get it. Get it done. And I think that my issue was just sticking with insurance that I was blessed to have good insurance with the jobs that I had, and I didn't really take advantage of it till I got older. And I was like 10 years ago. I'm 50 some now, but 10 years ago, I started taking it serious because I started getting more into my health and wanting to make sure that I have some longevity. Because when you have kids, that changes the whole dynamic for you. And the more you look at them, the more you want to be around. So it's very important as an older guy to do your checkups and everything you need to do, but also as a younger man, to actually make sure that you do that. Thank you.
Fantastic. And you touched on something really important, especially if you've got children and kids, and they can be a handful, and you want to be around, but more importantly, you want to be able to keep up with them.
Exactly.
Yeah, and in that respect, Charles, from your perspective, what do you think men need to do, like to keep up with their kids and to keep up with their young men? They're out there playing basketball and stuff. How do we do that at our age?
Well, I think, it's an excellent question, first and foremost, but I think we need to sort of look at ourselves almost like car maintenance, so to speak. We have to focus on, like, for example, you have a high-end vehicle, you want to use the right gas. So what are you putting in your body? Proper nutrition,
Right.
water intake is critical, things like vitamin supplements. Wayne turned me on to a few products that I use, and, things, really help me in terms of just keeping my body going, timely oil changes and tune-ups. So how often do you go to the doctor? You know, are you getting your physical exams? Colonoscopies, things of that nature. It's all a part of general maintenance. Again, same way you would deal with a car, rotating the tires. How often do you exercise?
Right.
You don't have to necessarily go and get a gym membership or anything like that, but physical activity needs to be a part of the regimen. Things like walking around the neighborhood, 30 minutes at a time, a couple of times a week, doing some jumping jacks and push-ups around the house. Things like that make a critical difference as far as creating longevity, because like you said, it's about us being around for the long term, being here for our families, things of that nature. And all those things are critical. And, Mike talked about, some of the other areas, but, caring for, your teeth and your mouth and stuff like that. But, again, all those things are critically important. And Chuck, this better than anybody. It really starts with lip care. You must take good care.
Okay, okay. I couldn't stay on mute for that one. That was a good one.
And, you got to take
Uh,
good care of your lips.
damn.
You're good to go. So that's where I'm at with it, brother.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. You touched on some good stuff, especially the gym membership. So many people think that you got to get a gym membership and the special gym outfit and all this stuff to somehow get fit. No, man. Throw on a pair of dirty shorts and get out here and do some yard work. Walk the dogs. Use your stuff, everyday stuff around the house. It doesn't have to cost you to get fit. What do you think about that, Stefan?
Well, I agree. I agree 100%. You talk about yard work, getting out there and getting that vitamin C is very important. And Charles, you should definitely know about vitamin C. Um, you know, um,
Touche.
Men's health is very important. As most people know, I was in the Army for some years, and the Army was real big on physical fitness and getting out there and working out and, being physically active because it was important for the job that we were actually doing. Now that I retired from the army, I've gotten away from physical fitness, and I sit back and self reflect, and I've got to get back into that type of rhythm. Cutting grass, working in the yard. Can't play golf right now, so I've got to come up with other uh, innovative ideas to keep healthy because I'm at risk. I have heart disease. Kidney disease runs in my family. So it's important that I take the steps, and young men and women take the steps to remain as healthy as possible. Um,
Well,
you know,
with it
I'm
running
sorry.
in your family, I guess you have to take steps to stay ahead of it.
Yes, absolutely. I caught that. You know, Uh, one, I do take medicine for the heart disease, kidney disease. I'm fortunate not to have it, but at the same time, I've got to ensure that I drink plenty of water, and get the proper nutrients in the system to
Right.
counterbalance anything else.
Got you. Got you. Well, I appreciate that, man. And you're right. Wayne,
Yes,
so
sir.
so often I ride around, back in the day, before Xbox, PlayStation, all the stuff that these kids have on TV. You could ride around to any playground USA and it would be filled with kids playing, getting what I call unintentional exercise. They're just out, not trying to exercise, they're just out having fun and playing. But today, I mean, it's like a ghost town on these playgrounds. Um, I think it's important to reach out to the kids early and let them know how important uh, health care is. What do you think about that? When should we reach out and stress the importance of health, not just men's health, but just health?
Yeah, I think I think you're right, Chuck. I think everyone said a lot of good stuff here thus far, and when we look at the youth today, we see that they're. You're right. You go down any block, you don't see kids on the street. When we were growing up, everyone was on the street kicking a ball, throwing a ball, doing something, and you just stayed outside. To go inside was punishment, but now you can't get these kids outside with a
Right,
stick.
right,
So yeah, it's really a big deal, and there are a lot of kids that are involved in some sports programs, whether it's a specialized sport or something. But they when they go home, they just home, right? So they do their specific sport, but then they don't go outside and just play with the neighborhood kids and stuff. And it's because right now everyone has so much personal information, their own devices, right? Whether it's
right.
a video game on a television or whether
Mhm.
it's just spending a lot of time on your little cell phone or computer. So yeah, it's kind of crazy, but I remember hearing not too long ago in high school in Howard County, Maryland, that they only had to take gym for half the year. It was like
Wow.
crazy. Yeah, I was like, really? I didn't. think that was an option. But yeah, that it's not, they split the year with gym and something else, maybe a health class or something like that. But it wasn't all 4 quarters, which I thought was crazy. But hey, I think the bottom line is health is wealth. And I don't think you understand that when you're young, because when I was younger, I could eat anything I wanted, as much of it as I wanted, and it didn't matter because I'd burn everything off
Right.
because you're always on the move, whether it's just walking around town or whatever. And now, as you get older, your metabolism, obviously everything slows down. So I think what happens is a lot of young heads don't think about it because I won't eat tomorrow and I'll be good, or I'll do something. And I think that's good when you're 18 years old or 20 years old. But once you get to your 40s,
Right.
those things don't work quite as easy, and you got to put in a lot more effort.
Yeah.
So I would just like to reiterate what a lot of the dudes already said on this call, is that it's a matter of constantly moving. And that constant movement could be walking around the block. It could be cutting your lawn. It could be anything, as long as as long as you choose to move instead of sitting on the couch. And I think that's not just for older people. I think it's for anybody. So that's real big. Movement is real big. But I think you also got to be conscious with your diet, right? And there's all these movements out there with all these different types of specialty diets, and people do this and do that. And I think that's okay if that's what you want to do. But I think that well, I shouldn't say better, but I think a good rule of thumb is to, just be moderate with stuff. You know what's good for you and what's not. You know you ain't supposed to be eating all those heavy pastas and stuff like
Right.
that.
Right.
You can't do that every day. You know you need to have some green in your diet sometimes. So it's just a matter of being smart with it. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Everything
eat,
in moderation.
yeah, you could eat pork if you want to eat pork, but that shouldn't be your only meal.
Not swine. Black black folks, we can't eat swine.
Trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you. So, yeah, I try, like Charles mentioned earlier, I'm trying to get down with the supplements. I'm trying to stay moving and stuff like that. And that's, and I feel good doing it. So that's all I got to say. I probably said too much, but that's my take on it. We got to get we got to do something that's fun for these kids outside to get them outside. I don't know what that is exactly.
Yeah, I hear you. They got a few things. I mean, the PlayStation and Xbox, they have games that are, interactive, and you have to some are sports games, some are, running games, things like that. And it's kind of cool to a point, but once a kid plays Call of Duty and all these other crazy games, the games like that are, these kids really aren't getting into it. But anyway, I'm
Hey,
personally on a. I'm sorry.
uh, you mind if I speak on that real quick?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because I do have young kids. I have young boys, two 11-year-old twins, and they spend a lot of time on the video games, a lot of time at school. They do play organized sports and things of that nature. But at the end of the day, their physical exercise is my responsibility. I don't put it on anybody else. How much PE in school they get, to be honest with you, I really don't even know. But one of the things that I try to make a concerted effort to do is to get them outside and to, force that issue. The other day, my wife and I took like a 6 mile walk, and we incorporated our boys into not all 6 miles, but we made sure that they walk with us at least 2 of the miles.
Yes.
We
Yes.
we forced them outside, to play basketball, to ride bikes, things of that nature. And let's face it, today these kids, they're just different from the way we grew up. For us, going outside was our social activity. It killed us if we couldn't go outside.
Exactly.
Now it's just the opposite. All of their social activity is taking place online. So going outside is almost viewed as a punishment. But
Right.
if we incorporate the exercise and eating right into as part of their lifestyle early on, then when they go on in life as adults, young adults, and beyond, hopefully that's a part of their lifestyle going forward.
Exactly. Fantastic, man. That's exactly the message to me that needs to be passed on, is that you start them young, young, and it is. It's the parents' responsibility to make sure that your children have everything they need, mentally and physically. You know, the school is the supplement. A lot of people kind of get it twisted. Yeah, we send our kids to school to learn, but the best learning that any child to me can get is from home, from mom and dad. Mom and dad should be the role models. That's just my opinion. Wayne, you were going to say something?
Yeah, I was, and Charles said something that I think is really really good, and that is that it becomes a lifestyle, right? So you don't want to have your kids eating broccoli and Brussels sprouts because they have to. You want them to eat it because they know it's good for them and they actually like it. You know what I'm saying? So if it becomes a lifestyle, so that at some point in the future, when maybe they do have some health challenges, they know that, hey, you know what? I can eat better. I can exercise more. I can do things. They don't just have to go to a doctor and get some sort of prescribed drug to fix whatever they got going on. So it's just like, I think it's a mindset, like Charles said, as a lifestyle. It's just, yo, I need to get out. They need to have that in their head. I need to get out and do something because I'm just, I'm stiff or whatever. That's all I was gonna say.
Well, you know what? I'll jump in on that. What I was gonna say is that I think this is a perfect time for us for our age bracket. We came in at the beginning of the internet, and now we're smack dab in the middle of all this social media stuff. And what I found out is that the kids are learning more about health than what we did in school. They're learning more about their physical health, their mental health, their sexual health. All this stuff is that we got some of this stuff, but it wasn't a prerequisite. Like it wasn't important. Like this stuff is really pushed in school these days. I mean, sixth graders, seventh graders, whatever, we didn't get that type of stuff. And I think now I'm able to talk to the kids about what they're eating, what they're not eating. I can talk about a saturated fat and all these different things that I'm learning and that they know what I'm talking about. And I think it's important to be knowledgeable because my mother never sat down. We never had a health talk at dinner. We never had a health talk at breakfast. It was like, yo, eat your food and be about your business, go about where you had to go. So I think it's perfect timing now for us during this age bracket of being in our 50s, but also talking with younger guys and kids and everything that how important not just eating right, but going to the doctor. I know that people don't like to get
Hey,
needles, but guess what?
hey,
Knowledge is power when it comes to your health. And I think it's very
that's true.
important. Like some people don't like colonoscopies. I'm not getting that done. I'm not getting that done. I said, man, you got to get this stuff done because you want to know what's going on. And when I got mine, I was thank God the doctor said don't come back for 10 years. But there's people at my job that got to come back every other year because they have polyps, in their
Right.
intestines and everything. So it's very important. And the same thing with the prostate exam. I know a lot of fellas don't like to, have that space invaded, but guess what? I'd rather find out that, there's something there and they can, get on top of it, excuse the pun, and get yourself healthy versus, waiting too late, like letting that
Yeah,
unusual illness go until it's too late. That's
Right.
all.
yeah. Just bring
That's all I
just
want
bring
to say.
flowers and chocolate when you go.
There you go.
But hey, can I speak on something that Mike just said real quick? I'm sorry
Sure.
to keep talking, but I think Mike brings up a really good point when he mentioned that at the dinner table you don't really hear about it. Um, you also got to remember in some of the poorer communities, your meals were selected by your what you had access to. You know what I mean? It's like you
That's
wasn't,
true.
like if you grow up in inner city, I don't know where everybody's from that's listening to this, but
Fact.
there's a lot of places in urban areas where your supermarket is the corner store and
Yeah.
they just got little nonsense in there but that's what you're eating because it's $1 or it's 50 cents or whatever, and so your meals are, so you're starting off with all these high sugar things and stuff like that, so you starting off at a disadvantage because you financially don't have, because of your financial situation. So that's not, I don't think that's a racial thing, but I think that's an urban thing,
Right.
and you eat what you have access to. So
Yeah.
your parents could say, eat your vegetables, but you got some canned vegetables from the dollar store,
Right.
right? You wasn't
Right.
getting, you know what I mean? You wasn't
Yeah.
getting like fresh produce.
You're right.
And what are you gonna say? What are you gonna say? That's their situation. But I just want to bring that up because that does play a role, and people get used to those unhealthy habits, and it gets crazy.
You're right. Yeah, that's 100% right. I am. on a uh, I'll call it a journey of discovery because I'm really, like I said, not on a health journey. I'm just on a journey to do the right thing. Um, and what that has resulted in is weight loss for me. I'm currently down 60 pounds, I believe. And,
Woo!
Good
you
job.
know,
Damn.
All
Way to
right,
go,
hey,
Chuck.
Chuck.
hey, appreciate it. And, it's true. It's easy to put on, but it's a lot harder to get off. Um, but if you're able-bodied and you can, and it's a beautiful day outside, here's what I suggest to people, especially people that say, exercising for me, and usually it's because people don't like the pain that is associated with it. Whatever the reason may be. What I did was, and it just worked for me. I just reverted back to what I always did as a kid. Um, I walked the dogs. I walked. I went to the mailbox. I went to the store. But as a kid, everything I did, or every place I needed to go, I walked. So that's how it started for me, and that's just what I do now. I just maintain it. I keep doing it. I walk every day. Sometimes I walk a mile. Sometimes I walk 10 miles. It's just because I've reached that level. But I'm saying this for the benefit of those among us or those listeners that might be a little older. Just walk. Um, I've tried just to put it out there. At my peak, I hit 300 pounds. Um, as ashamed as I am to say it, and embarrassed as I am to say it, it happened. I'm a chef. I worked around food for years, and quality control is important, so I had to taste. But in doing so, I wasn't doing what I should have done, which was move. It's okay to eat, it's okay to snack, but you got to move. I wasn't doing that. I'm retired now because I have more time on my hands and because I'm reading more things and I'm seeing things on the news about men's health over 50 and the mortality rate and how diabetes takes years off of your life. I want to be here. I want to be around for my wife and kids. So I decided to just start focus on me, take the right steps. But, the hardest part for anybody is just to get started. And the only thing you have to do, my suggestion is just walk. You don't have to run. You see people out here beating themselves up and run. Just walk. You will get the same amount of burn, exercise, all that if you just do what you did when you were a kid, and that's just walk. Walk around the block. So that's my suggestion for men's health. And to narrow it down, my suggestion is to get started, just walk. All right. So we're gonna move ahead. Actually, before we do that, everybody come off mute for a second. I want you guys to be a part of something.
Yep.
Question for you. Just a few questions. I'm gonna throw this out there for our listening audience. True or false? Each year, over blank, how many men are diagnosed with prostate cancer? Let me read that again. Each year, over blank, men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. Throw a number out at me. How many men do you think are diagnosed with prostate cancer every year?
5 million.
100,000.
I was
100,000,
gonna
Mike?
say a million.
Million? Okay. Steph?
I would say about 750,000.
Fantastic. Okay. I mean, the number is 230,000. 200 every year, 230,000 men are diagnosed with prostate cancer. Mike touched on this. A lot of times men don't get checked because they're embarrassed by it. You need to get checked. It's a real thing. About 30,000 men out of the 230,000 men, 30,000 will die from it. And it can be avoidable if early screening, go to your doctor, get checked up. But again, as men, macho or they don't recognize the symptoms or the signs. That these are the things that we have to take seriously. The third,
Hey, Chuck, can I add some?
sure.
I'm sorry, Chuck. I just want to say one thing real quick. Some years back, I don't remember exactly how many, maybe 10 or 15 years back, Charles had actually turned me on to a female doctor.
Mm-hmm.
I had always had male doctors my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
And so one conversation we were having, he said something about a female doctor. It just had never crossed my mind.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much better process with a female doctor. I'm just saying.
Why is that?
Well, first of all, they smaller, man. They ain't got big sausage fingers.
Okay,
So
I get it now.
Hey.
It took me a second.
Hey, speak for yourself.
Oh God. Oh my God.
I'm
uh,
just saying.
No,
All my
but
doctors,
I get
female,
it. I get it.
all of
But Chuck, I would like to piggyback what we said about the diabetes thing. I do have diabetes,
mhm,
and once I found out about it,
mhm,
I did what I could to,
yeah.
you know, do the preventive measures. So of course,
Hmm.
I love my snacks. I had to reduce my snack, and I didn't stop snacking, but I reduced
Right.
my snacks down. But to really, what you really need to do to try to beat diabetes is just follow your plan, but also you got to move, like you said.
Yes.
Any form of exercise, walking. If you can walk. If you can run. I do the elliptical every other day, and I
I'm
touch a
sorry.
little
You do
bit
the
of weight.
what?
Huh?
I'm sorry. You do the what?
Elliptical.
The what?
Elliptical.
Elliptical.
Okay. Okay. All right. My bad.
Elliptical. But yeah, I do that every other day, and uh, and I touch a few weights and everything. But that was a part of my regime because of where I work at. I work in juvie, so you had to be up on it anyway. But
Right.
I
Right.
think that that's what saved me because if I wasn't into that form of a routine, I think I would have been a lot worse off than I was because when I found out that my A1C is high, which is has something to do with your blood being a diabetic. A lot of people are affected; their organs get affected, but due to the fact that I was working out, it was high, but it was tolerable, and I had to, get myself together. So now that I got it down, it was high, but I think 6 was normal. I was able to get it from 10 to 7, and I'm still working on it now. But just being able to get that down, your A1C, it's a tough thing to do. But I'm saying if you got the focus, like you said, and you really want to get it done, it can happen. Thank you.
Yeah, I learned the hard way. I was pre-diabetic, um, and everything kind of hit me at the same time. I went to the doctor and I was having some issues, and of course the first thing the doctor said was, you need to lose weight. Duh, knew that. But then the reality hit in when he said, yeah, you're pre-diabetic and you're on track for this, and you're shaving 10 years off your life, and it just got real for me. And this is after retiring, and I think what set in for me was the feeling that, I've worked all my life and here I am retired, and the man's telling me I'm facing death, and I haven't, and I felt like I hadn't lived. Does that make sense to anybody? And
That makes sense to a lot of people coming
yeah,
from the you're from the security aspect. A lot of people, fire, police, corrections, even people that work in the business, that stress and anxiety has an effect on your body. And a lot of times you don't either you have the heart attack on the job or something happens to you on the job or it happens after you retire. And as you
yeah,
guys know with some of the maladies that I'm dealing with, I didn't find out till after I'm close to retirement, which everybody gets pissed off about because they say, "Oh, when a person gets retired, that's when things happen." That's true as hell.
it is. It is. I will say this. You touched on another thing. Stress is the number one killer for us as well. So we have to find ways to decompress and de-stress. All right, let's move this forward, guys. Let's go into a segment that we call "Drop the Mic."
Hey,
All right,
Chuck.
Mike.
Chuck, before
Yes,
you
sir.
go to
Yes, sir. I'm sorry.
before you go to drop the mic, another thing that is extremely important. I think we can do an entire podcast on this is mental health. I'm not afraid to say that I've had depression. I have had depression, and I've had other issues. And it wasn't until I saw a therapist that it was diagnosed that, hey, um, you've got some issues. Let's talk it out. Let's work it out. Because especially a black male,
Mhm.
we're famous for being proud and pride, and we're not willing to say, "Hey, I've got an issue." So mental health is extremely important, and I encourage anyone to seek out beyond just pastoral counseling, an actual therapist. If you're not feeling well,
Yeah.
or things are not where they should be, or you go
Hmm.
through moments of extreme anger or sadness or whatever, seek out
Hmm.
and talk to somebody. Thanks.
That's great advice, man. That's absolutely great advice because so often, especially as men, we take our mental health for granted. A man, machismo, all that, and we just don't take into consideration that we get bruised, we get damaged, we hurt. At some point it beat into us that it's not appropriate for a man to cry. So what happens is we walk around with all this mental baggage, and pressure bust pipes. You know, so that's fantastic, Stefan. I really appreciate you bringing that up. And if there's any medical professionals out there, because we're not medical professionals, but if there's any medical professionals out there listening, please feel free to drop a message in our inbox. We'd love to maybe possibly have you on. Maybe you can expand on this and give our listeners even greater insight. All right, so we're going to move on to a section that we call Drop the Mic. And this is just a segment, I'm sorry, where we get to say whatever's on our mind. We get to free our spirit. We get to show you just exactly how stupid we are. So starting out, leading us off is Mike. Mike, drop the mic for us.
Gentlemen, I would just like to say, thank you for talking about this topic of men's health. I think we can talk about that forever and everything. But I think it boils down to, I know we can drop the mic and bug out, but I think that smart living is important. I don't think any of us would be here or be able to do what we do on this podcast if we weren't taking care of ourselves in some way, in some form. And I just think that we need to continue that. And one thing that Steph said about mental health, we lost a lot of people, funny people, due to the fact that they had mental health issues, and people thought due to the fact that they were funny, they were comedians, they made you laugh, whatever, it wasn't a problem. So my thing is that, it's very important that, you live smart, you enjoy yourself and you enjoy your family and everything. But I just want to say that I think men's health is serious, and I think we should have a part 2. Drop the mic.
Thank you, Mike. Charles, give me your drop the mic, brother.
Yes, sir. Just to tag on to what Mike said, I think it's important that, again, good health be turned into a lifestyle. Start early. The time is it's never too late. But for the younger cats that are listening to this podcast, you can do a tremendous amount of damage to your body. I mean, literally 5, 10, 15 years can fly by, and without the proper care, you all of a sudden look up and you've done just unbelievable damage to your body, and it's all self-imposed. Not too long ago, I went to like a class reunion type of get together. And I kid you not, some of my classmates looked absolutely horrible. Some of them looked like they could have been my parents. And so it's
Damn.
all about lifestyle, the drugs, the alcohol, all those things may seem like, you're having a great deal of fun, but they're very damaging to your body. And for the older guys, think about this: obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, high cholesterol. These are all things that impact us in the bedroom. You're talking about those are the major causes of ED. Okay, so if you don't want to be that guy who is unable to please his lady, in his late 30s, 40s, 50s, or whatever, then the time is now to get it right. Mic drop.
My brother, I appreciate you. Stefan, what you got for it?
Well, in today's Drop the Mic, I would like to talk about something I observed. While we're dealing with COVID 19 and, the effects of COVID 19, we're still supposed to social distance. I got that. But I'm watching people drive down the road with the windows up and they have masks on. Ladies and gentlemen, that is so dangerous. That is so dangerous. What are you trying to protect yourself from inside your car with your windows open? Okay, I can almost buy it if your windows are down, with the mask on. But you're driving with your windows up and a mask on. All you're doing is inviting carbon dioxide to envelop inside your nostrils and stay there. And next thing you know, you're on the side of the road because you don't had a car accident. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you're driving by yourself and you have your windows up, pull the mask down, please. That's my drop to mic.
Pull your mask down while driving. It's simple, people. Wayne, what you got for us? Drop the mic.
Hey, so I want to go back to something that was said already around this health thing, and I think that Mike made a point to say that we should definitely have a part 2 of this, but I think Stefan brought up something at the about the mental health, and that's huge. That's huge. It's something we don't talk about in our community. It's something that men don't talk about in general, and there's a lot to it. So I just wanted to kind of reiterate that we need to do a part 2 of this. But the real drop the mic that I had was I just wanted to piggyback on something I'd said a couple podcasts ago, and it is just reiterating how important this upcoming election is. It's really tough that uh, we have two choices on this in this upcoming election in November, and in my opinion, neither of them are good. But I think you really have to look long and hard to make the right decision and to take time. The other thing I wanted to say is, no matter who you pick, what's really important is that you choose to be a part of the process. So don't say I don't like neither one of them, so I'm not going to do it. That's the wrong answer. So you might get the one that you really don't like in there if you don't participate. So it's your right. It's time to participate. Do the best thing you could do, and as long as you're saying you're part of the process, you did what you need to do. Mic drop.
Do the right thing. Vote. Vote your conscience. And hopefully we'll get a leader in there that's about the people. That makes total sense to me. And it works for mental health because the joker that's in there right now is driving us all crazy. So my mic drop is, and I'm going to keep mine real short and simple because I have just, like I said, started this fitness thing. And I guess you could say mic drop or pet peeve is gym etiquette. If there are 35 treadmills, and I am on the very first treadmill. All the other treadmills are empty. Don't come up, get on the treadmill right next to me. Come on, man. That's just gym etiquette. There's nobody else in there. Why you gotta get right next to me? Okay, let's take the treadmill out of it. Put the
Okay,
treadmill out of it.
but Chuck, if Nia
Yes.
Long steps next to you, are you going to ask her to leave?
Okay, let me stop you right there because first of all, Jesus built a fence. I'm married, and Jesus is my rock, and through him all things are possible. And we're gonna leave it right there.
Okay.
Okay.
Hey Chuck.
And-
Hey Chuck.
yes, sir.
What's happening to that? You getting a competitive person. They either gonna try to make you compete with them or you become the pace car.
Hey, look,
So don't
I'm
take
not
it personal.
even gonna lie, man.
No, take it as a
No,
challenge.
that's
all.
exactly what happened. I wasn't. No, okay, first of all, this was a little while ago, but it just came up recently, mentally in conversation. That's why I'm bringing it up. But the person, I would, like I said, I wasn't gonna bring this up. The person, so, I'm chilling. I'm doing a nice little jog, pace. I've been on there for a minute. Dude gets next to me, and then he's walking. Then he matches my pace, and it's not like he matched my pace and then he bumped it up a couple notches and immediately what? No, he matched my pace for like 2 minutes. Now 2 minutes on a treadmill is a lifetime, right? Okay, so then I'm kind of looking at him again. There's 35 treadmills, and he is on the one right next to me. There's nobody else on the treadmill. So then he bumps it up, not like 2 or 3 because he's gradual. No, he bumps it up like 10. So now this fool is in a full out run. It's not a jog. It's not a light sprint. This Bama is running, son, right next to me. I mean, full out, points, toes pointed, the whole 9 yards. I'm looking at him. What is going on? So I stopped. I stopped my thing, and I literally, he stepped side by side on the treadmill, and I just turn and I look at him, and I look at the other treadmill. I look at him. I look at the other treadmill. I look at him, and I look at the other treadmills, and he knows what I'm doing. And so now I'm just disgusted, and I walk away. Now, here's where it got fun. Also, I've gone to 2 or 3 different machines, and I've done different exercise or whatever. I haven't seen this dude in maybe about 15 minutes, right? So I'm walking over to the water fountain. I got a little sweat going. I walk to the water fountain to get some water, and here's this dude. And so he turns around from the water fountain, sees me, and he looks at me like I'm short. He looks me dead in my eye. He looks down, then he looks up, and he looks down, looks up, and then he does this, and walks off. Really? That's what we doing? So, hey, look, I wasn't even gonna get into the whole story, man. But yeah, this dude turned it into to a competition. The way I liken it to is, you know how you pull up, you got a nice car, you pull up to a red light, and then another car pulls up, Corvette, whatever, and he's revving his engine, and then when the light turns green, he's expecting you to race. That's what it seemed like to me. I just didn't understand it. I didn't know people did that, but hey, it is what it is. We just gonna drop the mic right there. But
Yeah,
anyway,
that's two man law violations in one story. Just want to let you know.
yeah, thank you. And the third man law violation is that I didn't chin check him. But hey, that is what it is. All right. All right. That's it for another segment of Just Be a Man. We really want to thank you guys for tuning in. Please make sure that you subscribe to all of our social media and don't forget to follow us. All right. If any medical, like I said earlier, if there's any medical professionals out there and you want to chime in and give us some feedback, or maybe you want to come on as a guest, again, check out our social media and don't forget to leave your comments below. All right. That's it. I'm Chuck. I'm your host. Just Be a Man. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Thanks for joining us this week on the Just Be a Man podcast. Be sure to check us out on social media, where you can subscribe to our show and/or leave a comment. We will love to receive your feedback. Also, remember to tune in next week for more meaningful discussion. Until then, we wish you peace and blessings.